Keepa, the Amazon software, which to us Amazon sellers is the software that is the gift that keeps on giving. So recently, over the last couple of weeks, Keepa's made a massive update to its software to give us a little bit more information, how many estimated monthly units an ASIN may be selling over the period of 30 days to a month. Now, before we dive into that, I just want to welcome you to the channel. My name is Natalie and welcome to Beyond the Buy Box, your go-to channel for all things related to selling on Amazon and in the world of e-commerce. So what is this update all about? Well, let's look into it. Now, if you're an Amazon seller, you may have noticed around the back end of last year, so back end of 2023, somewhere around halfway through Q4, maybe the start of Q4, I can't remember, to be perfectly honest. We saw this little metric pop up here, which was on the front end of Amazon. So anything the customers see, we always refer to as the front end. And us eagle-eyed Amazon sellers, anything that changes on the front end or in the back end of Amazon, we tend to kind of pounce on it. So a lot of people noticed that this metric popped up. And first and foremost, you know, it was something that we recognized as Amazon sellers could be very useful, because this is the first time Amazon's actually released this information about how many potential units an ASIN could be selling. It's always kind of gate kept, or that information to itself. It's provide the BSR information through Keepa, which helps us determine where it sits within the selling ranks in a certain category on Amazon. But this is the first time it's actually give us solid information with regards to how many units. Now, at the time, us Amazon sellers were great. Thanks very much. We really appreciate it. That's going to be really helpful for us. But unfortunately, they didn't actually do it for us. This is very much for the purposes and the benefit of the Amazon customer. And it's done for a couple of reasons. Firstly, if you guys have ever been on a website and you see something pop up that maybe says this product sold 50 units in the last 24 hours, that little pop up or bit of information, what it's designed to do is to kind of get in the customer's brain, release some of the endorphins, and it's to help force a sale. So it does it in a couple of ways. First of all, it recognizes, the customer recognizes that it's in an in-demand product. So in-demand product means it's a good product. So it's a trusted, proven product that X amount of customers are buying. So it reinforces that in the customer's brain. But secondly, it's also designed maybe for that FOMO feeling as well. Okay, 50 people have bought this particular item. Why have they bought it? Okay, maybe it's a good price. Maybe it's going to run out of stock. It's designed, like I said, to really kind of tap in to the seller psyche or the customer psyche and force them to make a buying decision. So it taps into it from that point of view. So that's why they've put it on there. And to be fair, actually, with Amazon, they've probably been a little bit behind with releasing this information, because this is something we see and have been seeing for years across certain different types of websites to help tap into that I want to buy or buying impulse from a customer. But ultimately, we looked at it, we looked at the information, and we were able to look at it and say, well, this is good. This is going to give us a little bit more of an indication on what customers are actually selling. Now, I must point out at this stage that although this is information supplied directly by Amazon, when we come to interpret it from a seller's point of view, it is still going to be an estimate. So it's not an exact figure. Amazon is not going to tell you to the unit every single month how many that product has particularly sold. It doesn't want to give all of its secrets away, but it is still very useful for us. So how can it help us as Amazon sellers? Well, first of all, you need to be a paid Keepa user in order to utilize this. This is really important. I've done videos before and maybe I've not said that, and everyone's come to me afterwards and said, oh, is this behind a paywall? Is this not for free users? This is going to be for paid Keepa's users only. But to be perfectly honest, whilst I don't want to dig anyone out or say anything derogatory or anything like that, I honestly do believe if you are a serious Amazon seller and you do not have paid Keepa, then you are missing out. I'm not going to go into all of the different benefits and reasons why you absolutely should be a paid Keepa user. We're going to cover lots of different features over coming videos over the next few months. But what I will say is you are missing out. You're only getting a snippet of information. And while other softwares really do highlight some of the best features on Keepa, they do not highlight them all. They are unable to. Keepa keeps some of that information back to be able to make its product stand out in the market. And, you know, we might talk about a few of those as we go through this video. But I really do think, like I said, if you are an Amazon seller and you're in this for the long haul, then paid Keepa is going to be massively useful for you. So let's jump in and let me show you how you can utilize this information to help you with your sourcing, to help you with your buying decisions, but most importantly, how it looks and how you can activate it. So I've picked a seasonal product here because there's something I want to show you with regards to seasonality and how useful this feature is going to be for Keepa users. So if we scroll down here, as you can see, like any good Amazon seller, lots and lots of software open that makes everything run a little bit smoother. But we finally get down to our Keepa chart. What you can see here is this yellow line. So this is the new monthly sold feature. How you can activate it is down in the category sales rank section. There is a new yellow tab, which is the monthly sold. So to switch it off, you click off. To switch it on, you click it back on, and you can see the line there that is kind of coexisting over the BSR, which is a good place for it to be. Let's look into it in a little bit more detail. So Keepa has started showing this information from the back end of last year. Although it's only just gone live, it's going to have around 3 months worth of data for you to be able to go on back on now. The longer this, I mean, you may be watching this video a year in the future. If so, then it's going to have more than a year's worth of data. It's going to be collating data, and the longer it goes on, presumably the more accurate it's going to get as well. But remember, this is information coming directly from Amazon. So how does this metric work? The line appears here, and as you can see, you can go through it. As more and more units sold, it goes up. So it tracks units sold between 0 to 50, 100 to 200, 200 to 300, 300 to 400, and so on and so forth. And it will go up in 100 until it hits 1,000. Then it goes up in multiples of 1,000. So 0 to 50. So if it shows that it's 50 sold per month, that means it will have sold anywhere between 50 and 100. If it doesn't show anything, then it has sold less than 50. So it is not tracking, it has sold less than 50. And I'm going to come back to that one in a moment, because that's going to be really useful to help identify some of what we call the hidden SKUs, some of the ones that may not necessarily be outwardly attractive to some Amazon sellers. So as we go through, so if it says 50, it's sold up to 100. If it says 100, it's sold up to 200. Now, of course, the bigger the number, when we go up here, 1,000 to 2,000, it becomes less accurate, because this literally could have sold 1,800, but it's still only showing 1,000 at this stage. But I think this is something more people are going to get used to as they go through and you start interpreting it. If you are a Keepa user, you will really be able to capitalize on the data tab here, looking at sellers' stock, when they're coming in, when they're going out of stock, how many units they are selling, and combining this data to be able to make some really good estimations of more accurately how many units are being sold per month. But I'm not going to go into that here. Again, that is a whole nother video for a whole nother day. We are just going to focus on this monthly sold as it stands at the moment. So what I love about this in particular is once you get grips to seeing the new extra yellow line on the Keepa chart, and why I wanted to show a seasonal product in particular is what this shows is seasonality beautifully and visibly. So anyone that follows me, follows my training in the Hive, sees any of my bundle training, you will actually see, or you will be aware, although this is a new feature to Keepa and it comes directly from the source, i.e. Amazon, this is something that we've actually seen before in another bit of software, which again, you're thinking, why is she going to talk about another bit of software on a Keepa video? But this is relevant. We actually utilize a software called Helium 10, and within Helium 10, there is a separate feature called X-Ray, and within X-Ray it actually gives a sales estimator, and it actually gives quite what I believe is an accurate sales, or sorry, a semi-accurate, as accurate as it can be without having all of the information. It gives as accurate as on the market, I believe, estimation of monthly sales, and it breaks them down into daily. And the reason I believe Helium 10 gives that really good information is because they have some of, outside of Keepa, the biggest samplings of data when it comes to units sold on Amazon. Over 1 million users worldwide. That's a lot of data to be able to make their estimations from. And I've always said, I think it's as accurate as it can be. So we actually utilize that particular feature in Helium 10 and have been doing so for a number of years now to really dive down deep into the estimations on whether we want to identify potentially a product as an anchor product within a bundle, whether or not how many units we want to be able to send in on a standard reseller product, like an online arbitrage product, something like that. So that's been really, really useful. But what I now love about this Keepa feature is it's going to be included and made more accessible, this information, for everybody to be able to make some informed decisions, especially when Amazon is becoming so hot lately on inventory, managing your inventory, staying in stock, penalizing you for having too much stock, penalizing you for not having enough stock. This is very much the theme of 2024 and beyond. Amazon are coming down hard on this sort of stuff with regards to inventory management. So having this extra bit of data accessible to everybody really, really does help, because Helium 10, it's what I call mid-range software. You know, it's up to $100 a month for the package that is most useful, in my opinion. So, you know, just to pay an extra $100 a month, just to have that feature, however useful it is, may not have been the best value. And, you know, I certainly wouldn't recommend someone get it just for that feature. So now this feature, albeit appearing in different form, appears on Keepa. This is going to really help Amazon sellers when it comes to facing some of these challenging times ahead in navigating some of the changes that are coming in with all of the different stock updates and inventory updates. So I'm a really big fan of this update. So thumbs up, Keepa. Thank you very much for introducing it. But what I also love about it as well is if you are someone that has been selling on Amazon for over a year, I'm sure at some point you have been caught out by seasonality, in a good way and possibly even a bad way as well. So when it comes to seasonality, one of the hardest things to try and work out is how much stock to send in. And you've probably, as I said, been burned in one or two ways. Either you've sent in too much stock or not enough. So if you utilize this new monthly sold feature to be able to identify how many potential units have sold previously over the same previous seasonal period, then it's going to give you more of an indication when you compare it to the amount of sellers, who was getting the buy box, what percentage of buy box, all of these different features that exist in the extra data tab under Keepa. Then you will have the most accurate information that I can ever remember to be able to identify how many units you want to sell over any given period of time. So this is going to help massively in times of seasonality, Q4, because beforehand we always look at BSR and we make an indication based on there, but no two BSRs are the same in this is January versus February versus March. It ebbs and flows a lot, and 4,000 in grocery at Easter versus 4,000 in grocery will represent two very different amounts of units sold, as you can see, and is now beautifully represented visually by this chart. You can see here, although in this particular time, I'll zoom in, the BSR stays relatively the same over here. We've actually gone up in the amount of units we've sold because we've got closer and closer to the Easter period, and everyone's panicking, and maybe the shelves were bare from Easter eggs, so they've turned to Amazon to save their life. So from that point of view, it's going to be really helpful, and it's going to give us a really nice visual representation, which is something we were lacking with having the information on the front end of Amazon versus what we can see over any given period of time. So I'm really excited for that for Amazon sellers. You guys are going to be able to make some really good decisions and hopefully please the Amazon gods when it comes to staying in stock or not overstocking, which is something they're massively hot on and are going to be moving forward. So where else is this useful? I'm just going to jump into the other part of Keepa, which again, some people don't even know this exists as well. What you can see here is, for anyone that uses Keepa to source, again, if you don't, what are you doing? If you're paying for Keepa, this is a resource that you may or may not know exists, and you may or may not be utilizing it. But what I love about this one is now if you are using it for sourcing, this filter has been brought in, so you can bring it in to help you wean down the data when it comes through, because as you know, there are millions of products available to sell on Amazon. So when you have to fill in the filters, you are using it for sourcing, otherwise you are just bombarded with so much data. So this extra filter is really going to help. It's going to help us bundlers massively, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But this is also going to help those people I was talking about a little bit earlier. So the people who maybe like to stay under the radar a little bit, the people that like to identify the secret sellers, the hidden listings on Amazon that outwardly maybe do not look like they sell a lot on Amazon, but when you know, it's one of those type of things. So what you guys will be able to do is bring this in and utilize it to be able to search for those items that are not registering, that are going to sell under 50 units a month. So if you put your maximum unit as 50 units, then it's going to bring up all of the items. We'll probably have to put it in as 49 actually. It's going to bring up all of the items that are not going to be showing or registering within that metric. So it's going to be a really handy filter to be able to filter down some of this data. Where it's going to be really good for bundle sellers is when it comes to creating a unique bundle. We always want to identify one of the items or the main or anchor item within the bundle as being a really great seller. So what we're able to do is utilize Keepa to be able to, and this extra feature, to identify anything that maybe sells 1,000 units a month. Before, we would have to search via BSR, and BSR is only a snapshot in time. So if I was to put anything below 5,000 BSR, it may register, but it may be only 5,000 for that one particular moment because Uncle Joe decides to buy it right then, right now, just as when I make my search. Whereas the monthly units sold is going to be a lot more accurate, unless it's outside of seasonality at all. So I can put in, I want to identify anything that sells between 1,000 and 2,000 units per month. And boom, I have a list of potential anchor items that I can go through, and I can look at all of the potential bundles that I would be able to turn those into, that I could create new bundles with, that I can add a new unique item with, all of those different areas. So this is huge. This is a really good feature. Normally when you get software updates, it normally benefits bundle sellers or PL sellers or, arbitrage sellers. This is one that really is going to help everyone. So it's really good to be able to see that. But again, like I said, unfortunately, this isn't a video to show you how to utilize Keepa to source. We will be doing some more Keepa videos at a later stage, but I definitely recommend if you want some more information on that and you want to up your sourcing game for when it comes to selling on Amazon, make sure you join the Hive. We have all of the information, all of the sourcing techniques are covered in there, and that's going to be super helpful for you and your team. So if you haven't activated this yet on Keepa, or if you don't have Keepa, make sure you get it. Make sure you show this video to your team, because it's all very well. I've done this before with people where we've gone through, we've made a video, the Amazon owner of the business has watched the video, but they hasn't passed it on to their team. So make sure you pass this video on to your team. If you have VAs, if you have sources, if you have purchasers within your business, and it's going to be able to help those guys make some really good sourcing and buying decisions. Well, I hope you have found this video useful. This is definitely going to be something that we're going to keep using more. You're going to see us using it more, but useful feature that I can't wait for you guys to all start utilizing. So if you have liked this video, please do give us a thumbs up. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel and also follow us or hit the notification. So when we release new videos, then you are able to see them as they come out. It really does help the channel for sure. Don't forget to join into our weekly live, which is in our Facebook group, Beyond the Buy Box. Every single week we do that Tuesday at 1 o'clock. It's generally myself or Johnny with a guest, where we're talking about all the latest updates and news when it comes to selling on Amazon. And if you can, pop a comment in there just to say if you've enjoyed this video or not enjoyed this video, or if you found it useful, if you've started using this feature already, what impact has it had on your sourcing. It's always great to hear from you. But thanks once again, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care, everyone.